The role of treasurer is essentially the person who's in charge of all the money. So that's withdrawals, paying in money.
Being responsible for what is spent. If you overspend, it's your fault. If you underspend, then you need to analyse why.
Essentially everything that society does that charges is the treasurer's responsibility.
As a secretary, I was the admin of the society. So I made sure that all the documents, agendas, minutes were printed and distributed.
So just trying to generally organise people, make sure they've all paid their memberships on time, making sure they're aware of when training sessions are.
I'm team captain, so I think one of the main parts is to be able to communicate with not only your other committee members, but members of your team.
You have to kind of treat it as a CEO of a company, even though you're like best friends with people on your committee.
It's very important as the social secretary to make everyone feel welcome.
As social sec, I planned, organised and ran weekly socials for the club.
The role of president is basically the leader.
Promoting the society to new members and returning members and making sure that everything we do was overall accessible and inclusive.
I was the face of the society, so I liaised the most with the Students' Union.
Okay, mainly you need to be organised to be a social sec. You can't sort of come up with a social out of thin air.
I think most importantly probably leadership. You have to know how to lead but also how to listen.
Being able to say no when other committee members ask for money.
I personally put it down to my two holy books, which are my diary and my list book.
A plan at the beginning of the year for the things that you wanted to achieve.
But you also need to be a people person, you know, you're one of the faces of your club around the whole university.
If you're out on the social, if people have drunk too much, you need to be able to talk them into maybe having a glass of water.
And you've got to be ready to change your plans at the last minute, because what can go wrong quite often will.
Emergencies do happen and things that you haven't planned for do happen, and it's really important to make sure you factor those in.
One of the challenges was making sure everyone attended meetings. To overcome that task, you sort of have to be a bit firm.
Finding a balance between being a committee member and doing your degree and possibly having a part-time job is quite difficult to do.
The importance of having a sober committee member who's ready to sort of look after someone who's maybe overdone it.
A lot of the times committee members will not agree. It's going to happen. Like I said, we're all individuals.
The challenges we face is like not having a budget that actually meets the requirements of what we need.
Finances can also be a bit of a challenge, especially if you're a small group. I would say that don't worry though, because the Students' Union gives a lot of grant funding out to societies.
Sit down for a few hours and make sure everything makes sense and all the numbers add up.
Plan, literally. I feel like you need to know the role inside and out.
I think you shouldn't be afraid to go up to committee members that have had experience from previous years.
It's really important to have regular committee meetings, even if you don't feel like you have anything to talk about.
You've got to think on your feet and be flexible, but when somebody comes up to you, you always need to expect that they're going to ask you something that you know nothing about.
For all of them, it's having a plan for the year and then kind of plan for the term and keeping up with it and checking in on it.
Communication, communication, communication. I think pretty much all the problems I faced as a club captain with like the rest of my committee this year has been down to lack of responding to emails.
My main bit of advice would be organised.
Definitely plan. Like I said, if you try and do things last minute, things will get missed.
Don't feel like you have to get drunk. There can be quite a bit of pressure on social secretaries, particularly for sports teams.
So you need to be organised and plan your events well in advance and make sure you know exactly what's happening.
I wish I made more of an effort to keep in contact with the membership services staff.
How much responsibility it actually puts on you.
It would have been nice to know about risk assessments and sort of like captain's packs and things like that.
Before taking on the role, I wish I'd known that it wasn't going to all be fun and games.
In hindsight, I wish I'd spoken more to the people who'd done my role in previous years.
Also, I wish I'd known that no matter how much you prepare, you cannot control everything.
I used to be, believe it or not, really shy. I would never talk to people, and this has completely brought me out my shell.
planning and organisation, it was a huge boost for that for me. I wasn't the finest at that.
Leadership skills in general and public speaking.
Say I'm better at negotiating with people, organising.
Oh, skills-wise, gaining all sorts. Flexibility being the main one.
And I think motivating people is another thing that I gained, and also a lot of interpersonal skills.
It helped my sort of leadership skills and public speaking. It was a really good way to practice speaking to different people.
I've learned how to use Excel, which I never thought I would do.
So there's organisational skills, a lot of communication skills.
I bet everyone says this, but definitely communication skills.
Not only my interpersonal skills, but also like real tangible skills that employers will be able to see.
For me, personally, I think zero tolerance is a really important one.
You know, zero tolerance to any form of discrimination or sexual harassment, etc. That should be something that, you know, is a given.
One of the key things I think is being aware of residents, especially when we live in all residential areas. If you have house parties or pre-rig to somebody's house.
If people are being forced to drink or pressured, then people aren't going to be enjoying it as much.
We don't want to create an atmosphere where people feel they have to drink to be part of the team.
It just takes one person to come up with an idea to make the society bigger and better every year.
You can change the image of the club, you can change the success of the club.
It's a great opportunity to be on a committee, and it is a lot of fun, so really make the most of it.
No matter what you do, you are representing Team Leicester and your club and your university as a whole.
Make sure that you have a vision of where you want to take the society.
And looking back at it, it's definitely worth it, but you've got to be prepared to put in that work.
To make the most of it and enjoy it.
It's the same thing with everything in life. It's like the more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
I don't think I would have got involved with the Students' Union if it weren't for the student groups and the people I met along the way who supported me.
The best thing I ever did. It's great. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm the sports president for the 15-16 year. Effectively, my role is to represent you guys and all of the students who want to get involved in sport. I basically just wanted to let you know about the campaigns I'm going to run through the year. So there's going to be things like LGBT in sport, disability sport. The main part of this message is just to please keep me in the loop, keep yourselves organised, keep yourselves updated, but keep me updated because at the end of the day, I'm here to help you.
Hello, I'm Naomi, I'm Student Development Manager.
I'm Aisha, I'm Student Development Officer.
Face to face, we're always here. As we mentioned, the emails, unionactivities@la.ac.uk. All your inquiries, you send them through to there and we'll filter them all accordingly. We've also got a massive database online, so get really familiar with that because there's loads of useful information on there.
We're bringing in two new things, the Student Group Assembly Team, or SET, and the Student Group Assembly. These are basically forums and that will all get fed back to us. These individuals also make big decisions when it comes to societies and student groups. One of the things I was really keen to do when I got elected was to change the way that we support societies, really rewarding you and giving you credit for the things that you've done amazingly and you continue to do amazingly.
Come and talk to us about feedback as well as coming and talking to us about your group or yourself, whatever. We're here for you guys generally, so come and speak to us.